Hey everyone, welcome to today's upload. I'm sharing with you guys this PD that I did from my couch. It's called K through 2 Teaching Math. It was a 10-day training. I'm still in it. I think I have about 2 more days left, but I wanted to go ahead and share this with you. So this is a 10-day training that teaches you how to teach math for kindergarten through second grade teachers. And summer is definitely the perfect opportunity to learn new teaching strategies. Thankfully, there are lots of online teaching trainings that you guys can complete from the comfort of your own home. No need to spend a day indoors when you can just PD on the couch while you lounge. So, teaching math. I chose this one because I want math to be fun and engaging for all learners. And so, this e course has taught me how to differentiate and teach math using proven methods. So in day one, what kicked off is just that um, the notification of like the fact that there will be 12 days, action packed, resource filled, professional development, and it's an e course that's designed to help you feel stronger about math. So this math e course is specifically for K through second, written by Elise Rykoff, and so she's a former K through second teacher with many years of experience teaching math to kids. And so she's also developed a best selling math curriculum for kindergarten, first, and second grade teachers. She dedicates her time serving teachers with tips, strategies, and resources that help specific needs. And so she was thrilled for me to join right along with anyone else that chose to do it and learn her tried and true strategies the best way that, like we can in order to teach math to kids. So the math email course is what guided me step by step along the journey. I took notes, wrote things down, so that's what you guys will see here. But you'll learn strategies that will help you set up and run a guided math block, and that's enjoyable to teach. And plus, you'll gain valuable free math tools and free fun activities that you can just access right away. So, over the month of July, the things that we walked through that you guys are going to hear me talk about today is just like what to include in your guided math block and how to structure and schedule it. What quick math warm ups will get kids excited for math, how to run a whole group math mini lesson, what to do and what not to do, how to structure your guided math small time or small group time to meet the needs of all learners, how to use math centers effectively in the primary classroom, simple independent math programs that are ideal for like building strong math skills, and then what math book and videos can be used to teach at your best and support your instruction, which hands-on math activity and games kids love, and then practical math assessments that you can use easily each day, and what effective math strategies you should use with struggling students. So every other day there was an email for the training, and there's like actions that you need to take and like bonus resource um, activities or handouts or downloads. So the first email hit my inbox, and this is the one that just simply says, "Hey, teacher friend, in our first email training, we will look at guided math and why it's effective. I will share the structure and planning process that works so well in my classroom. Maybe you're feeling challenged with one of these, like common struggles. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed with like the math content that you're required to teach and you're not sure how to fit it all in, or you have a short black block to teach math, and you often run out of time every time you teach something that you've planned, or you've been teaching your students in a whole group setting and wondering why students aren't grasping the concepts, or you're finding it hard to organize your math block and like go back and forth on what you should include and skip. So if you can relate to those, you're definitely not alone. We're all there. I think that's something, like even as an instructional assistant, I can't fit everything in that's planned or everything that, I have planned if I take over. So she developed a tried and true routine that's going to help you to stay organized, allow you to differentiate, and then, of course, remove the stress that you feel at the end of the lesson. So here we go. The guided math approach that we're talking about in this math concept here is that today's classrooms are filled with students with varied abilities and learning needs. So therefore we have to be able to like have flexibility and differentiate how, but like we teach our students to meet our needs or their needs. But this is accomplished by using the guided math approach, and I think that this is really great now that I've learned it. The guided math model allows us to teach in small groups to ensure that every student receives individualized instruction, and it's not possible with the whole group model. So there's 5 math workshop components to include in your guided math schedule. So like if you have a pen and paper, write them down. The length of your math block will determine like how long you spend on those components. So for one, you could do like a math warm up activity. And this one is like just 10 minutes where you're doing a math warm up where activities are fun. They're usually completed as a whole group, but you allow the children to activate their brains and prepare for the math lesson. And so this could build mathematical reasoning, communication, problem solving, and further understanding. Some examples are like number talks, number of the day, flashcards, calendar time. This is, just a great thing to do at the beginning of math. Another thing that you guys could do is a whole group mini lesson, which could take 15 to 20 minutes, something short, powerful mini lesson. And this is going to just set the stage for students to think about a specific math concept, skill, or strategy. And it can also be used to just review, model, or explain something, which is like what you're putting in your mini lesson will depend on like where your students are. So you could like model something new, introduce a new skill, demonstrate, like using a new math manipulative that will support students, or playing a game, wrapping up or summarizing the lesson from yesterday, reading a book that has to do with that math. Um, lesson. Another thing that you guys could do is like a small group instruction of like 30 to 60-minute groups of rotating, where the reason why you're doing this is because you want to find a differentiated lesson that targets the instruction to students in like a small level base group on their learning abilities. So they don't often learn, like as a whole group. But the best part of like a small group is that you can catch and correct any of the misconceptions that students might have like from the whole group. Examples of that is like like working in small groups, teaching and modeling a new concept, reviewing, asking students to solve a math problem, show their solutions, and then maybe introducing a new math game, something like that. Number 4 is the individual math practice activity in centers, and that's something where you're going to take 30 to 60 minutes at the same time as small groups and just have individual math activities and practice supports that can allow you to run small groups. So like maybe some worksheets that pertains to the subject that you're teaching, and then like have 3 or 4 kids come over, and you can do it in like 2 to 6 rotations to meet with the desired number of small groups. And this can be spread out over several days or during the entire week. So things like math journals, math centers, exploration with math manipulatives, digital math activities, math worksheets, things like that. And then the 5th one is to do like a math assessment. This is something that's going to easily take 5 minutes. Maybe this could be done on a Friday or a Thursday or Friday. Maybe you want to do both. It's just a math assessment that allows you to track and monitor your students' progress and the development of math skills. And they may not, may not be the more enjoyable things to administer, but like at least you're knowing where they're at. So maybe like some fun fact, math facts, practice or drills, exit tickets, quick tasks, tests, observations, things like that. So next we're going to move into the how to structure your math and guided math schedule, because that's something that's definitely important. Now that's that's what you want to know. So it's like now that you know the what in this whole situation, it's time to discuss the how. So with a lot to fit in, this can be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. It just depends on the length of your math block. So there are these printables right here that you guys can like recreate. And basically it's a schedule where you guys can do the 30 minutes, the 60 minutes, or the 75 minutes. And so I would put them on 3 different colors, just kind of like you see here. The warm up is what you're going to be basing for the 10 minutes if you're doing a whole group mini lesson, or if you're doing the small groups. And that way you can like put the groups, or if you're doing independent practice, and if you're also doing the assessment. I would do the assessment as like who needs to be assessed at the end of the week and things like that, and what needs to be assessed on. That way you're like ready to go, and things like that. So there are different ideas. Like I said, if you guys have a 60, 75, 90-minute math block, here are the ideas of what you can do. So the 5 components that we discussed previously can help you to teach a well-rounded, differentiated, guided math block, which means like you can do the 10-minute warm-up, 15-minute whole group mini lesson, 30-minute math workshop for small groups and independent practice, and then a 5-minute assessment. The length of this block just makes it hard to fit everything in and have enough time, but it can be done in, alternate ways. And, as a reminder, you guys can pause the video and write these things down. I'm just trying to get through it. A guided math schedule with a 75-minute block means that you have time to do a 10-minute warm-up, 15-minute whole group mini lesson, 45-minute math workshop, and then the small group and independent practice with a 5-minute assessment. And then you also can do like your 90-minute block, which means that you'll have time for 10-minute warm-ups, 15-minute whole group mini lessons, and then 60-minute math workshop with the small group and independent practice with your 5-minute assessment. But as a reminder, like, listen to that inner voice and assess whether your math lesson plans are meeting your students' needs, whether it's like causing them to overwhelm um, or not, because it's always okay to change if things are not working. Not everyone, will be on the same page. So just be flexible and accommodating. And so the free resource came through. It was the guided math planning templates that I shared with you guys. You can use those templates to help you organize, plan, and schedule. And then the action that needed to be taken into place is just simply to decide how long your math block will be. Start to think about how you want to structure your math lesson or your math block, and like the area of ideas, and then print off a copy of the guided math lesson planning template and open and read the emails that are to come with the next section. And then, of course, take the suggestions that you learn, record them in your plan, and try them out, and then just try and tweak them. So we move on to number sense, which came for day 1. 5 tried and true ways to build math fluency. Definitely want to say, like, this was a really good PD, especially to do it from the couch, because I feel like you're learning about a bunch of math fluency. So what is math fluency? It is just more than memorizing math facts and recalling answers to questions. Rather, it is feeling confident in being able to take a part in the math lesson and activities, engaging in math in fluid and effortless ways, and the ability to complete the assignments and activities accurately without hesitation. So this takes time to develop in children, and it definitely takes a lot of repeated experience with math concepts. But we really want our students to be flexible, use appropriate strategies, problem solve accurately, and then find the right answers. I know that's a lot, but how do we do this? So tip number 1 is just do like few frequent math lessons and practice. So when children are taught math and they're given the opportunity to practice daily skills, their math understanding develops, and then their daily whole group lessons, small group lessons, independent activities will help to build confidence with those new skills. So during transition, you like want to have the kids count by 2s, 5s, or 10s, forward or backward, together to practice lining up or moving, from one activity to the other. Or when students enter the classroom, have a question of the day for them to answer and use the answers as a class to create a graph. Or you can like use the beginning of the math lesson to have a math problem ready with whiteboards and markers for the students to attempt to answer while you get organized. And then, of course, like building math fluency with math mats, you can always find any of those for free. And then just to have math activity and centers ready for fast finishers to complete throughout the day. Tip number 2 is it's beneficial, like to start providing as many opportunities to experience math in many different ways. So this might happen throughout a variety of activities, assignments, lesson plans, and teaching methods, such as like using warm-ups, literature, word problems, oral drawing, physical demonstrations, chant songs, or manipulatives like blocks, cubes, things like that that can be used to demonstrate concepts, used for practice, for free exploration, and much more. And of course, you can introduce any type of activities like games, interactive notebooks, journals, math apps, etc. And then, just incorporate a different way of practice and review skills, um, such as review, task centers, practice worksheets, and games. Tip number three is just to make math fun and engaging. If a child, enjoys what they're doing during the math block, they will be more engaged in the lesson. They will be eager to listen, try new things, and complete assignments, and they will learn more if they are having fun. So, some ideas for making math fun and engaging is just to teach them different games and center activities and review and practice different skills taught in class. Have activities set up in the classroom that children enjoy and feel successful at, and just to include games with dice and cards that the children can play independently or with friends. Tip number four is just to do like a mental health, and that is just thinking and solving a problem quickly and independently. Incorporating mental math strategies and into the activities of your lessons can help to build math fluency, so that it can be solved quickly and easily. But remember, like, ask questions orally without any visual representation of the problem available, and encourage students to visualize the problem in their head and have daily math drills. Giving students daily or weekly math drills provides review and builds speed. And tip number five is just that as teachers, we need to teach the steps and the strategies for solving the different math problems one at a time. After learning a new plan, teachers need to practice to gain the fluency with it, and the problems are not solved in only one way, but just like show the different ways that it can be solved. So different approaches might need to be taught. But things that you guys can do is like use posters, anchor charts, diagrams to illustrate, use different math tools and manipulatives, have, like students create mindful hands on activities for them, or like that's something that we do, I'm sorry. And then, to have the students show their understanding differently throughout their actions, illustrations, explanations, stuff beyond the worksheets and tests. So the math warm up guide, it's ideas. So we want to know the secret to like hooking students into our math lesson plan. So we're going to start with a math warm up. So these are fun math routines that are highly engaging and gets kids eager to participate. And so math warm-ups are quick activities that can usually be completed as a whole group, which allows you to get the students ready for the math lesson by activating their brain. And then, of course, warm-up activities build mathematical reasoning, communication, problem solving, and further understanding. They also allow for students to review and practice math skills. So, just like start your math lesson with a short 10-minute warm-up activity that will reinforce a math lesson skill and engages your student in a meaningful way. One way that you can do this is it can be short but engaging, and to get their minds ready, you can start with like a task card, and that is something that's going to take a short amount of time. They're going to need to warm up with it, and they can complete it individually or with a partner. Task cards can include like a short mathematical task that a student needs to complete. So you can select tasks that review a previously taught concept or one that, like you're trying to learn. So some more ideas with that is kind of like solve a math problem in a math journal, use math flashcards to build mental math ability, complete a one-page math review page. Two, you can focus on numbers. So like building fluency with numbers requires daily practice and using the right time before a math lesson, which is an excellent opportunity to strengthen skills. So for today, like you could try to study a number of the day, and that means that you guys can like make your own poster, and it could be laminated, and you can use dry erase markers with it, and things like that. And it's just a number of the day routine that will allow you to build number skills each day as you, kind of go through the numbers together, write the number word, draw the number using the dice, use tally marks and more. And you can also just use like that, like I said, the poster to organize the routine like this. So here is basically what I'm talking about, where you guys would write the number, write the number's name, use it in a 10 frame, find the number, make ways to make this number, find it on the number line, things like that. It just builds number sense with hands-on counting, matching, and ordering activities, and then have number talks to go along, to go depth and deeper with the concepts, and encourage, like the out of the box thinking. So calendar activities also will help, because your daily calendar time is a great opportunity to review and reinforce math concepts. Like, some tips are to count aloud the days of the months together, point to the numbers you count until you get to the current day. You could have the students, um, student of the day come up and lead the class in counting. The repetition of saying and seeing the number is important, especially in kindergarten. And you can discuss questions that's related to the calendar, like how much or how many days are left in the month, and and turn it into a math equation. If there are 30 days in the month and today is the 15th, how many days are left? You can also build a calendar routine that serves your students and develops their math skills. Like, once students have the memorized routine and are no longer engaged in the same way, you can move on to another warm up. Number 4 is the math games. Math games in the classroom make learning so much fun, because they can be played together in small groups or independently, and the students can, be engaged and like hardly notice that they're practicing math. So another thing that you guys can try is the human number line, using tape to create a number line on the floor and have the kids take turns standing and hopping, to act out the equations. You can try a few different math games, like turning Uno cards over to create math equations and then solve them. Write addition facts on the board and have the students smack the equations. They can solve using a flash swatter, or like create matching games with any sets of math flashcards. For example, have your students match number cards with numeral or quantity cards, and then play online games such as Fun Brain and Splash Learn. Number 5 is books. Math books are amazing. They are a fantastic way to introduce or reinforce math concepts and get kids thinking about math. So if you read a book to kick off your math lesson and connect the book and concepts that will teach each day. So some math book favorites are like 10 Black Dots, Numbers Everywhere, 100 Angry Ants, and Mission Edition. Number 6 is manipulatives, where those are the most supportive way to develop in math, and they provide, with tools that are going to teach math concepts more efficiently in a hands-on way. So you could also try to provide a tub full of math manipulatives for students to work independently or with a partner: snap cubes, pattern cubes, shape counters, magnetic numbers. It just gives students an open-ended question and asks them to solve it using their choice of their math tool. Now, some things to take action on with this one is just that, try to select a warm up to try, prep your materials and have them ready at the beginning of your scheduled math block. Introduce and try out the new math warm up activity and reflect on, how it went, and just adjust if you need to. So if students don't respond well or get bored, just move on to another activity, as I mentioned before. And the free resource for this day was the math task cards, which are mostly aimed towards first and second grade. I think that if you're in kindergarten and you want to do the math task cards, which is something that you guys could easily recreate, is to simply do hands on as far as making this into a small group. So if you have an instructional assistant, I definitely would use that instructional assistant for this time, like doing this as a math journal. And then, of course, I would, also make it to where that's their extra practice working with, another teacher. Building number sense with, these engaging activities are as followed. These activities are geared towards kindergarten and first, but it could also help younger children who are ready and older children who need that practice still, and review. So activities for building number sense could be any of these different ways: building blocks, putting them in order, flipping over the Uno cards and putting a piece to match how many is there. Of course, building the numbers itself, writing them, and things like that.